As you can see, here in the Heather Reads household, we are ready for Christmas as much as we can be. And this is a special video as my way of saying thank you to everybody for getting me up to 300 subscribers, which is very kind. And I did a poll, as you might remember, on YouTube and got some interesting results back, almost an even split. Some people wanted a question and answer session. Some people wanted a potted biography. Some people wanted a combination of the two. And so I sat back and I thought, well, let's see, what am I going to do with this? And I decided that I think I've come up with an idea that should satisfy everybody, but also should be something that you've maybe never seen quite before. Haha, we shall see. So what I'm going to do is just take you round these messy bookshelves. This isn't a library tour. We're not really going to look at the books. What we're going to look at is 12 objects that are on my bookcase that I think I can use as a jumping off point to either answer a question or tell you a little bit about me. Item number 1. This is a stack of books. I suppose there's a lovely Christmas card. Don't you love this? This was done by one of our friends. That's her own watercolor painting. But if I can move it out of the way, you'll see this stack of books. You may remember from the summer that I picked out this stack of books as my winning titles TBA. That is, books that I picked purely because I like the titles. I really don't know much else about them. Sometimes I knew the author, sometimes I didn't, and I'm working my way through them. And I'll tell you why I'm filming this one. It's because this top book here, Hyenas in Petticoats, I started it and then I stopped it. I read a few pages and then I thought, I'm not sure. It is a history of feminism, but it's a retrospective that was done in 1989. And that's a heck of a long time ago now. And as I was reading it, I thought, should I maybe be looking for a history of feminism that gets me into at least the mid to, 2012 or 2013 or something closer to the present day. So I'm still thinking, I may still read it. There was nothing wrong with the writing. I just suddenly thought, this is only half a history. And so I might look around for something else, or I might end up reading that anyway. You'll find out. And object number 2 is our advent calendar, which may not sound all that exciting, but this is the first one we've ever bought, which says a little bit about me. I will do things for Christmas, but I'm not super, super excited about it, if you know what I mean. I have put up some decorations, as you'll see, but I'm not really, really Christmassy. We don't put up a tree. That's just a lot of housework, and I'm not really into housework. Now, along with this, though, there was a question that was asked by Grey Fuhr. I'll put their channel name up on the screen. And they asked me, what do I miss most about America? And you know what? I don't. I really don't. I have lived in the UK now since 1986, so most of my life has been lived here. I like that the UK is smaller, that London is only an hour away by train, and that the UK, I think, is a better place for a nerdy, bookish type of person than Canada is. Canada is mostly wilderness, right? It's really a better place for sort of a practical, hands-on person who can build and fix things, I think. Object number 3 is that little black object you can see near the pen. That is a microphone that I tried out. It would have been last January or something. It clips onto the clothing. Didn't like it. Didn't like the sound quality. Didn't like that how it could rub against other clothing and you would pick up noises from there. Now, I'm going to mention, though, Marion from Writer in Rwanda, you've commented that the sound is much improved now that I'm using my mobile instead of webcam. And I agree. And, even though it has been a big learning curve to suddenly start changing the way I film and the way I edit, the result has been so satisfying that I haven't minded the learning curve. That's what I want to say. So, Marion, if you're watching this video, I want to say thank you. Thank you, because it was just kind of the prompt I needed to go, yeah, I do want to fix that. Let's do it. Let's get it fixed. Object 4. Now, you have to look really hard to see it. Can you see where it says bring your art to the world? White writing on a black surface. That black surface is a tin of watercolor pencils, and I'm filming them because, you know, the YouTube is brilliant, but I must admit, I'm not getting time for other hobbies, and I wish I had more time so I could fit in more than one hobby, and that's one of them. I do like to do a bit of drawing and painting. So there we go. Those sit waiting for me to figure out how I can manage to get that into my life again. And this is object number 5. And you're thinking, which one? The coaster? The very old mobile phone that you can see there? I think that's a Sony Ericsson, and I would hate to think how old it is. No, it's the little rabbit, the little stuffed rabbit that you can see there on the shelf. That is Ralph. If everybody like to say, hi, Ralph. Ralph was given to me in the very early 2000s. I was working at a job where I really was not happy. It was a really poisonous atmosphere, and I had to leave it in the end. But before I left, when I was having a very, very down day, I happened to be talking to a colleague and saying, oh, you know, I just need something to cheer me up, just some little thing to go right. And he received Ralph as some kind of promotional gift or something, and he'd stuck him in a desk drawer, and so he pulled out this little rabbit and gave it to me. He said, well, will this help at all? And I thought it was just so unexpected, and Ralph is a great source of comfort, and he's had to be again this year. And that's something that I should mention, because in the last video I was saying, why was it that it took me 10 months to fix the sound quality on my YouTube videos? What was distracting me? What a lot. And probably now I can talk about it a bit more, whereas I couldn't at the time. But last January, the company that I worked for was acquired by another firm, and that acquisition took several months and didn't complete until the 1st of September. And during that time, you can just imagine, if any of you have gone through that experience, there's such a lot of anxiety. People have to decide across the company. People had to make decisions as to whether they were going to stay or look for other work. And in some cases, if they wanted to stay, the same jobs, the same type of job wasn't necessarily available. They had to decide whether they wanted to take a demotion or a pay cut. And then, of course, when you do go over to the new organization, there's a huge learning curve. And we had one, even though we are using the same financial system, there's still a big learning curve and a lot to take on and a lot of challenges. And I really felt it was enough. I used to come home and just think, you know what? I'll read a book and I'll do videos in my usual way, because that's no additional stress or anything. And Ralph also was a great friend during some of the worst times. I think Ralph got several conversations with me, one-sided ones, as you can imagine, but it didn't matter. I benefited from them anyway. Okay, everybody, don't laugh, but object number 6, I've forgotten where I put it. I moved it when I got the Christmas decorations out. Can't remember where it is. But back to another question that Greyfear asked, and that is if I have any pets. I kind of wish I did, because I can see that booktubers who have pets and put them on camera get amazing numbers of views, and their pets get gifts, and that's really cool. The answer is no, we don't. We have had, though. We have had cats. We've had 3 cats. We've had Mo. Mo was white with some black patches, and he came to us as a stray. And, he was missing his tail, and we had to have his ears amputated because they had little tumors on them. And yeah, he lived with us for about 3 years. And then after he died, Corey came to us. Corey came in the front room window. I mean, she literally just jumped in and she decided she was going to live with us. She was a tortoiseshell, and anybody who owns a tortoiseshell cat will know that's kind of how they rock. You kind of do what they want or else. But she was a fantastic cat. I think she was the one that we both remember the most, and I'm including the cats that I had growing up. Corey was just such a standout personality, and she was with us. We had her for about 14 years, I think. And then sadly she became very ill, and she did that thing that cats do when they know they're unwell, is that she just went outside and we never found her again. So we never really knew what happened, that was tough. That was a really tough way to lose a cat that we loved. And then after that, we acquired a third cat, Spider. Again, he was a cat that needed a home. And we weren't really looking for another cat, but you know how it is. Anyway, so we had Spider. Spider had a bit of Maine Coon in him, but not purely, but his legs and his body build were very Maine Coon, and he was extremely affectionate. So he was lovely, but he was already an older cat, and he had medical condition. We never really knew what that was. So I think he was with us for maybe about a year and a half. And to be honest, after Spider died, I think we just felt that it was really lovely to have the freedom. You know, when you have no pets and you just want to go somewhere, a pet is always the first thing you have to think about if you're going to go anywhere. And so it was nice to have that freedom. And I'm not sure that we want to give up that freedom just yet. So unfortunately, my videos won't be as entertaining as some people's. This isn't strictly speaking our bookshelves, right? These are the television angels. They're my favorite Christmas decoration, just those 3 little glass angels. And I'm going to answer a question from Sue Jackson at Sue Jackson DE, because she asked me to talk about what kind of writing I do to prepare for booktube videos. And the answer is not much for this one. This one I really am doing on the hoof, which is, it's difficult for me. I always like to be prepared, but otherwise I do have templates for scripting. And Sue, what I'll do is I'll link in my description box of a video that I did, I think it was last January, where I talked in detail about my setup, and that included showing off some of those scripts and template layouts. But if you wanted to know more, we could always share some more too. That's not a problem. And here we are, we're up at the top looking at all my unfinished jigsaw puzzles. Includes that one there, and also you can just see tarot one there. Yes, I have a lot of unfinished jigsaw puzzles. That is another hobby. Finding it difficult to fit in with YouTube. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that somehow I'll figure out how to do it. Next object. I can't remember what number we're on, but don't worry. I have enough notes to know when I've shown you them all. This, inside the plastic tub here, is our Christmas cake. It's a fruit cake that we made at the end of September, and I've been feeding it steadily from a bottle of ruby port. And there's a funny story about that, because back in January when I turned 60, a colleague found out that it was my birthday, I guess because I had lots of presents on my desk from other people. And he came through and he handed me this bottle. He said, "Do you like port?" And I said, I could cook with it. He said, "Oh, good." He said, "I've been given this as a secret Santa present." He said, "I don't like it." And yeah, very frank and forward. Anyway, I took the bottle and I think it's going to make a very nice tasting Christmas cake. Here we are. Last object is my armchair. I've filmed from this sometimes, but this is my place for reading, for writing. You can see that I've got a laptop table on it, which is adjustable and can turn, and so I can have my laptop while I sit down. And yeah, it's really comfy. It's a recliner and has a footstool. I don't often use the footstool, but yeah, I do a lot of reading and writing in that chair. And that leads nicely on to a question from Elfie Austin, because she asked me whether I had any formal training in literature. Well, yeah, I have, finally. When I finished high school, I didn't know what I was going to do, and so I just didn't get anywhere in getting a degree. But and that's because I wanted to study literature, but I thought, oh, it's too frivolous. It won't get me a job. You know, the usual things, yada, yada. And so, of course, I then went on and got a lot of jobs that I found quite boring. And I thought, oh, I wish I could go to university again. And we were able to, 2016, I enrolled with the Open University. And it took me 8 years, but I got my Bachelor of Arts degree in 2023. And so that was brilliant. That was my degree in English literature. And that's the reason, Elfie, that I did a booktube channel, because as I got closer to graduation, I thought, what am I going to do? I enjoyed so much writing about the books that I was reading. And I thought, I still want to do this. I still want to read books, and I still want to have something to say about books. Oh, hey, this is cool. I can show this object. This is my degree certificate in there. Yeah. So we had a lovely day up in Manchester, which I think I covered in a video, but I'm not sure if I can remember exactly when. But yeah, so that's how I became a booktuber, really. I suppose if I hadn't got that degree, I think I would have lacked the confidence, because I wouldn't have known what to say to camera. So that's it, everybody. That is your little tour of irrelevant objects on the messy bookshelves that are getting less messy. We really do have to have a proper sort out now, because they are starting to thin down. And one object I haven't shown you is this box here. This is where we are putting books that we finished and we don't want to keep, because I can take them to our local supermarket. They have a charity stall there that always wants book donations. So we're getting there. We're slowly, but you can still see these are messy bookshelves, right? They need a cleanup. And we're going to work on it, because we're still reading a lot of books that we own. The camera seems to have lost the idea of focusing. So there we go. It's got it back. You can see we've still got a lot to read, and we will do. So look, everybody, I hope you all have a fantastic holiday break, whatever you're doing. Happy reading to everybody. See you again in a few days' time for another Middlemarch meditation. Yeah! And until then, take care. Bye-bye.